welcome back to the cabin. So that was an interesting turkey hunt so far this year. I think it's April 28th or something like that, so the season's only been open for 4 or 5 days. And I got my first gobbler, weighed about 19 pounds, and it came fairly simply. It's been a few turkeys around. They're not very common up here. It's not like agricultural areas where they congregate, especially on crops. And at this time of year, they become pretty predictable and relatively easy to pattern. Doesn't mean they're easy to hunt, but they're easy to pattern. And that's just not the case up in this area. It's Canadian Shield, and it's just dense forest and mostly public land, so it's a completely different hunt than even what I started with years ago. Now, I've been hunting turkeys on and off since early 90s. I think me and Darren and Jeremy, I think it was, took the turkey course, safety course together, and I've had my license since then, but I don't think I hunted till 99 for the first time, just because I didn't have areas to go. Turkeys were pretty well extinct in Ontario up until around 1984, when the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters and some other groups got together, reintroduced them, and then several years later they did so well that we were able to open up a controlled hunt, and then slowly added areas. So this is way further north than their typical range, or their historical range, and I'm fortunate to be able to hunt them up this way. Now, the reason the backstory is significant is because what I just did is not typical for turkey hunting, not the typical way to do it. Because of the nature of the forest here, and the fact that they aren't, a couple things, they're harder to pattern, so you have to do a lot of walking to find them. But mainly, I think the biggest thing is that finding food sources is a little bit more difficult in the Canadian Northwoods, because it's natural. It's not crops, like I said. So I ended up shooting that where there was some beech trees and oaks. So there was acorns and beech nuts on the ground, and they're in the crop. You could see that it was eating those things, and then some other greenery, unrecognizable greenery. Bugs are just starting to come up now and get active, so they'll be eating the bugs now as well, and probably focusing on that. But because of that, they're widespread, traveling through these forests. But also, what it allows me to do is to hunt much more naturally and without props. So in the past, when I first started hunting, like I said, turkeys, I had a turkey blind, so carried a fold-up turkey blind on my back, and then just popped it up. It's like a mini tent, and I would hunt out of that so that I could be concealed, and also use decoys. And the reason for that is I was hunting the edge of agricultural fields, so the turkeys could see a long way. They could see a decoy, they could respond to the calls, and they would come to the location. Turkey hunting and any hunting, more often than not, they don't come. Especially if there's a hen. We can only hunt gobblers, we can only hunt the males in the spring, and easiest way to hunt them is or most enjoyable as well, is to call them to your location. But if they have hens that they're trying to breed, that are not on their nest yet, then those gobblers, those males, will want to stay with those hens, so it's really hard to call them away from the hen. But still, it's a viable method, and it's probably the most common and the most successful method is to, like I said, set up in one location, let the birds come to you, but call and try to get them to the location and attract them to your location with decoys. With all the hills, so the good thing here is that they don't have that long view, so they can't see the decoy, so it's kind of pointless to carry one. But also, I get this opportunity to call them, hear where they're calling back from, head in that direction with hills between me and them, and then I'll just set up on the bottom side of a hill and let them come to me over the hill. Now the other thing is, because I'm doing sort of the run and gun method of hunting, I also end up not carrying a box call. And I do have a box call, I'll show it to you, but I haven't used that thing since the year I bought it. And the reason for that is that I don't want to have things I have to carry. I don't want things making noise as I'm moving through the woods. And I just don't like something else to maintain. I used to more often not use a mouth diaphragm call, so it goes into your mouth, and I got pretty good at blowing that and calling turkeys with that. But those dry out between seasons. I didn't want to spend more money every season getting another 1 or 2 of those. So I learned to call turkeys with my mouth. It's a sort of bushcraft or woodlore principle that the more you know, the less you have to carry. That's the way I hunt now. I call deer, called caribou, called moose, turkeys, duck, goose a little bit. Anything else? That's maybe it. So I call all those animals and birds just using my mouth, so I don't have to carry a call. I find that very efficient. Camouflage, you can see I'm wearing drab colors. It's fun to buy the equipment and the gear, the clothing and all that stuff, but honestly, there's a lot of times that you can get away with not having that. But again, it depends on the hunting method. So if I was sitting at the edge of a field trying to attract turkeys across the field, they have extremely good eyesight and they pick up color very well. And if I was not well camouflaged, it would be hard for me to fool them when they have that much time to assess the situation and focus in on anything abnormal in that setting. So if you're wearing something that, even those feathers on the arrows, the fletching that were orange, they would see that and they would typically spook from that. But again, by the time they're seeing me, they're within range. I'm behind a tree or they're behind a tree, and I'm able to draw and make that shot when the opportunity presents itself, and before they're able to identify me as something unnatural. Anyway, I just thought I would share that with you, because if you're a hunter and you've seen the way I hunted in this video and I have in other videos, it's not typical. And it's extremely hard to film, and for that reason I'll probably never actually get a full hunt on camera. Can't have somebody walking with me, it's too noisy, there's too much movement, and it's too many opportunities for the game to pick up that second person. So I'm always hunting alone. It's too hard to carry a big camera typically. So I'm usually just using the GoPro, and you get that split second. You only get one opportunity typically, and if I'm trying to fiddle with a camera, that's going to be very counterproductive, almost impossible for me at least. Anyway, if you wanted to see some of I don't know how many videos. I think I did a video about mouth calling in the past, but on other species, but I know for sure that I have a moose video from 3 or 4 years ago. Early September, called in a big bull moose, just using my mouth and branches and stuff. Called them right to my location, and I've done that a lot. I've called a lot of moose in that way, and deer, well, does and bucks. But anyway, I've done a lot of that. So if you want to check that out, I'll try to find it and put the link in the description below, or you can just search moose calling or moose hunting or something like that. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share that with you. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing the cabin next time. Take care.